Welcome to the Algebra 2 workshop on functions, equations, and inequalities. In this workshop, we're going to tackle 5 objectives. And so to begin, let us do objective number 1. Work fluently between multiple representations of functions, including function notation. In the order for us to do this efficiently, we're going to be using Desmos. So example number 1, guys, go ahead and plug this in on your Desmos right now. After plugging it in on Desmos, this is how your graph would look like. You can adjust it a little bit and magnify it. In order for you to find the answer to this, where it says what is f of negative 4, you all know that negative 4 is the x. So therefore, you're looking for the y. The best way to do this is to open up another tab on your Desmos and then click on the plus sign, choose a table, and then plug this in one by one where your x is negative 4 and your y is any of these. If you had chosen the correct y, it will end up on the graph. So yeah, the answer here is letter A, 83, when your x is negative 4. So let us now go to example number 2. In this example, you will just have to plug this in. Go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so this is how it would look like after you plug in the equation on your Desmos, and I intentionally left this 2 on there because I want to show you how to keep them there but turn them off, so you're not going to see them. So here, turn it off that way, and here you also turn it off. So it's still there if you need it later, you just have to turn it on. Okay, so now the next thing is that you will plug this in one by one, and the f of x can be changed to y equals if you like that. Go ahead and do that one by one and see which one goes on top of your original equation. So on here, my original equation is this first one. And notice that I plugged in letter A and it did not go on top of it. The equation that is the correct answer to this is the one that will go on top of your original line. So I'm going to turn this off and again plug in letter B on this next one. Go ahead and do that. As you can see, after I plug in letter B, it did not go through, so that's not the answer. And so I'm going to turn it off, open another one, and plug in letter C. So I'm in the process of plugging in letter C, and I'm intentionally doing this because I think this is our answer, and I want you to see what's going to happen once you plug in the correct answer. There you go. So it went on top of your original line, so here your answer is letter C. So let us now go to objective number 2. Identify key features of a function. Question number 1. What is the domain and range of this quadratic function below? So let's go ahead and do this. So on here, for domain, you're going to be marking left to right. I hope you know that already by your teacher. So domain are all the x values, and that's the reason we're marking left to right. The moment you see that there is an arrow on the left and on the right, then your domain is set of all real numbers. And it is given by that notation. Okay, so that is your domain. So now let us go ahead and do the range. So your range is are the y values, bottom to the top. Notice that on the top it's going to go to infinity, so that really won't matter. You just have to start with your vertex. If it is a quadratic function, you start with your vertex. And so I'm assuming that that is at 3. So you know you're doing the range. So because you're doing the range, you know that your variable is a y. And there's a 3 involved. And your graph is on top. Because it's on top, it is greater. Also, that point right there, your vertex, is a solid shaded circle. Because of that, it is considered part of the solution set. So that is y greater than or equal to 3. So now let us go to this next example. What is the domain and range of this? Let's do the domain first. You all know that the domain are the x values. So if this is your first point, I'll just go down. Look at that number. This is your next point. Go down. Look at that number. This is your next point. Go down. Look at that number. and here, look at that number. So your domains are -3, 0, 1, and 2. You will have to do listing because these are discontinuous function or isolated points. Okay, so now let's go and do our objective 3. Objective 3 says solve one variable equations, and let's go and do example number 1. This is your function, guys, and so go ahead and plug that in right now. Okay, so I intentionally made you do this on your own because I'm sure that you're going to plug it in this way. So the answer to that, the thing is, you cannot do that. In order for you to solve something like this, what you're going to do is to look at your equal sign. Your equal sign is going to treat these two as two separate lines. This one is like one line and this is another. So let us begin. This now is wrong. I want you to plug this in like this. So y equals 4 minus, go ahead guys and continue doing this. Okay, so once you are finished plugging this in like a line with the y equals, and I want you to get used to doing that for this particular reason. If you plug in 16 here without the y equals, again, look what happens. So in this case, I will just plug in y equals 16. So these are like two separate lines, as I said. Your answer to this is the intersection point, and just get the x value of that. So that's what you're looking for. And so the answer here is x equals -6, which is letter A. Okay, disabling this so that you don't see it. Open another one. Go ahead and plug this in as y equals 5x minus 3. Okay, once you're done with that, you're going to open up another window and you're going to plug this in again as y equals whatever that is. I have finished plugging in the right side of my equation, which is y equals -2 parentheses x minus 1 close parentheses plus 9. And I came up with two lines that intersect at point 2, 7. And my answer is the x value of that, which is x equals 2. So the answer here is letter D. All right, so moving forward, we're now on objective 4, and the objective 4 says, rearrange formulas to solve for a quantity of interest. In this case, the example number 1, the formula for the circumference of a circle is circumference equals 2 pi r. Rearrange the formula in order to solve for r. Let's go ahead and begin. So what you want to do is, I'm just going to do it here. So C equals 2 pi r. You want the r to stay. So this 2 has to go away. So I will just go ahead and again put the equal sign here because that's your separator from your left side and right side. Okay, so once you do that, you want to get rid of this, and those are all multiplications. So to get rid of multiplication, you will have to do division. Whatever you do on the right side, you do on the left side. Once you do that, this cancels out and you're just left with an r, and so your answer is C over 2 pi. All right, let us now go to example number 2, which says in the formula m equals -7 t squared plus nt plus s, solve for s. So this is what we're going to do. Again, the equal sign separates your left side from your right side. On the right side, you want all these to go away and s to just be left. So I'm just going to do this. Do the inverse of, so on here, notice that I have here at the bottom, I wrote the inverse of -7t squared by putting plus 7t squared, and here I need to get rid of that, so I'm also going to put the inverse of that, which is -nt. Whatever you do on the right, you do on the left. So this is now how it looks like on the left side. Just FYI, the students that were with me last year knows that or know that this can be done with a shortcut. If you want the S to stay, then just put this on the other side but change the sign. This also, put it on the other side but change the sign. Notice here, the sign changed. Okay, so let's now begin the crossing out. Okay, so because this are inverses, they will cross out and turn to 0. And you're going to go ahead and just copy this down, and now you have actually just solved for S, because now S is isolated and that is your goal. When you're solving for something, you want to isolate that variable. Okay, so now S is equal to m plus 7t squared minus nt. Okay, so you all know that the equal sign permits this to switch places, so it's the same as S equals whatever that expression is. All right, we're on our last and final objective. Solve one variable inequalities and represent their solutions on the number line. Example number 1. Which inequality is equal to this? Okay, go ahead guys and plug that in on your Desmos right now. Okay, after I plug this in, this is what's showing up. So what you're going to do guys is very easy. You're going to open another window on your Desmos, and you're just going to plug this in again one by one and see which goes on top of your original. And once it goes on top, it is your answer. So go ahead and start plugging in letter A right now. Wonderful. I think we found the answer, and the answer is letter A because it went right on top of the original. Now, I just want to make an experiment of what if we got the wrong answer. So let's disable this color, and so that's your original. Go ahead and plug in letter B, and that would look like, there you go. So you know it's not the right answer because it did not go on top of the other one. So let us now move on to our last and final example, which is the inequalities that's equivalent to this one. Again, plug it in. In this one, I would like to remind you, in all the examples, guys, if it says any other variable, change it to x. Again, all the variables will just be x. So this m will turn to x right now. Go ahead and plug it in. All right, let's take a look at what I have plugged. X minus parentheses x plus 7 close parentheses less than 4 plus 3x. Okay, so that's your graph. Go ahead and start plugging all these in. Again, a reminder, your m all changes to an x. Open another window, see which goes on top, and that should be your answer. Okay, I think we found the answer, and the answer is letter A because that's the one that went on top. Just to be sure, if you want to see that, turn this off and on again, and then you turn that off and on, then this can also be turned off and on. I just think that this is such a cool idea. Did you notice that I had forgotten something here, and that's this, because it says what is the domain and range of the quadratic function. So guys, let's go ahead and just finish this up by doing the range this time. Okay, so range are all the y values, and we start from the bottom, and this is the bottommost. Just connect it to the y, and so what's that number, and then what's this number, and then there, this again, what is this number, and that again, what's that number. So your range are negative, that's not negative, that's 1, comma 2, 4, and 5. Again, isolated points, discontinuous function. So guys, that is your domain, and these are your range. I hope you learned a lot today. And so this is our PFA number 1. And I am wishing you all to pass this. Okay? Good luck.